You know that feeling you're always walking down the school hallway, you see a teacher way down at the end, and suddenly your brain's like,
oh no, what did I do? Am I walking wrong? Is breathing against the rules now?
yeah, that's because school feels like prison. And I'm not the only one saying that. I mean, ask around, most people will tell you their school was basically Shawshank, just with more homework and less chance of escape. So why? Why do schools feel like prison? And what does architecture have to do with it? This all started when I watched Lean on Me, that 1989 movie with Morgan Freeman. He plays a real life principal, Joe Clark, who runs his school like a warden. He expels troublemakers, punishes kids for not knowing the school song, even chains the main doors shut. During school hours, those kids were basically inmates. And somehow, Morgan Freeman still made us root for him. But in real life, that's terrifying, and it hit me. My school wasn't that extreme, but it had the same prison vibe. Before the 18th century, school was for rich kids. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories everywhere. Countries needed people who could read instructions, could count money, and most importantly, follow orders. The first universal tax funded school system popped up in Croatia in 1763. Every kid aged 5 to 14 had to go. Other countries copied it. By the late 1800s, it was everywhere in the West. It worked. Literacy went up, child labor went down, education became a right, but there was a catch. Schools were also designed to teach obedience to authority. Why? Because back then, your future job was probably in a factory, and factories love workers who follow orders and never ask why. That obedience training created a big power gap. Teachers had all the authority, students had none. It's the same dynamic you see in factories and in prisons. So, when you can move freely, you get punished for laughing and you're forced into activities you hate. It's not your imagination, the system is built that way. Now, here's where my architecture brain kicked in. Could the building itself be part of the problem? There's this idea called architectural determinism. It says buildings can control human behavior. Build a nice place, you get nice people. Build a bad one, you get chaos. Well, in the 18th century, this guy, Jeremy Bentham, took it to the creepy level with something called Panopticon. Envisioned a circular building with a watchtower in the center. The guards could observe prisoners in cells, but a grate around the watchtower made it impossible for prisoners to know when and if they were being watched. Bentham argued that this uncertainty would create a constant sense of surveillance in the prisoners' minds, and after a certain time, they will internalize this gaze and will change their behavior. Bentham thought that this was genius, and he wanted it not just for prisons, but for factories, training centers, schools. Thankfully, people said,
No thanks, Jeremy.
we don't have full on Panopticon schools, but we have got Panopticon vibes. Long corridors where one teacher can see everyone, glass doors and windows so your every move is visible, fixed desks in neat rows, single entry and exit points to control movement. Here's the twist. Architecture determinism mostly bogus. People can thrive in bad environments or turn selfish in good ones. Human nature is unpredictable. What does work is something called the Hawthorne Effect. It means people change their behavior when they know they're being watched. That's why panopticons work. That's why kids sit up straight when a teacher walks in. French philosopher Michael Foucault argued architecture doesn't create power. It just helps enforce the power structures that already exist. So in schools where students must obey teachers, a long hallway becomes a surveillance tool. But in schools where there's mutual respect, the same hallway doesn't feel oppressive at all. Look at SFU's Vancouver campus. It looks like a prison, but it fosters collaboration. Look at Norway's Halden prison. It's basically a summer camp with fences. Guards play sports with inmates, and inmates reintegrate into society better. The difference, the power dynamic, not just the building. So can we fix just by changing the architecture? In my opinion, no and yes. You can zigzag the hallways, scatter the desks, paint everything neon pink, but if the power structure stays the same, kids will still feel like they're under lock and key. But I do believe architecture amplifies or aids already existing power structure. We're not in the industrial age anymore. We don't need obedient factory workers. We need curious, ambitious humans. Killing curiosity kills innovation. The real fix: change the power structure. So what do you think? Was it the architecture, the teachers, or something else?